Leora's fingers were already numb when the baker's door slammed in her face, flinging a puff of warm cinnamon air into the frozen street. She caught one whiff, then nothing. The frost-bitten scent vanished, as though even aroma refused charity here on the northern frontier. A single crust of bread would have eased the gnawing in her belly, but the townsfolk of Whitegate treated beggars like ghosts, half seen, never heard, swiftly forgotten. She drew her threadbare cloak tighter, ears stinging where pointed tips poked through the hood, an unmistakable mark of elven blood in a kingdom that had outlawed it. She was half-elf, all hunger, and wholly alone. Each bitter afternoon, she made the same circuit. The bakery, the tavern's refuse heap, the temple steps. Each time she whispered, "Just a crumb, please." Each time the world answered with silence or scorn. Yet on this day, a stranger's shadow lingered across the trampled snow behind her. Heavy boot prints halted as she knelt to sift the tavern's garbage for wilted greens. "You'll find nothing but rot in there," a warm baritone said. She flinched, expecting a boot, a sneer, another refusal. Instead, a gloved hand extended a fresh heel of bread. The man was tall, human, wrapped in a wolf fur mantle dusted with travel ice. Salt-flecked stubble framed a gentle smile. His eyes, gray as winter dawn, studied her with neither pity nor disgust, but something far rarer, concern unburdened by expectation. "Take it," he urged softly. Leora hesitated. No gift came without price, and elven girls who trusted men too quickly seldom survived. But the bread steamed in frigid air, and her stomach screamed louder than caution. She accepted, murmuring thanks as tears stung her lashes. He watched her devour the heel in ragged bites before offering his name, Elias Rowan, a merchant captain whose caravan waited beyond the east gate. "Why share with me?" she managed between gulps. "Because no one else would," he answered. "And hunger kills as surely as any blade." Around them, townsfolk slowed, muttering. "Human fool," someone spat. "Waste your coin on a knife-eared wretch. See where it gets you." Elias ignored them. When Leora swayed, dizzy with relief and exhaustion, he steadied her elbow. "Come," he said. "Let's warm you properly." Inside the tavern, murmurs turned to open outrage. Patrons recoiled as the half-elf entered. The innkeeper's lip curled. "We serve men here, not strays." Elias placed 3 silver falcons on the counter, double the cost of a full meal. "You serve whoever pays," he replied, voice calm but edged with iron. Coins hissed across wood, and resistance melted under their weight. Soon Leora sat by a crackling hearth, spooning venison stew that tasted of impossible promise. She savored each mouthful, though her gaze never left the door, as if kindness might evaporate. Over supper she told her story, words halting at first, then pouring like thawed rivers. Her mother, an elven apothecary, had been pressed into service during the border wars, never to return. Her father, a human tinsmith, wasted away after conscription taxes claimed his tools. With no trade and no name a guild would honor, Leora drifted north, seeking refuge she never found. Elias listened, elbows on knees, eyes steady. The more she spoke, the less his expression changed, as though sorrow was a language he already knew. When she fell silent, fear fluttered in her chest. She expected judgment or empty consolation. Instead he asked, "What do you want most, Leora?" She started to say bread, shelter, coin, but what escaped was the simplest truth. "A place where I'm not hated for what I am." He nodded, as though that desire were perfectly ordinary. "Then come south with my caravan," he said. "We ride at dawn. I can promise a seat by the fire and work enough to earn your keep, if you'll trust me." The word trust echoed like distant bells. Yet something in Elias's calm, made trust feel less like a gamble and more like the inevitable turn of seasons. She agreed with a delicate incline of her head. Hope, tiny but tenacious, unfurled inside her like the first green shoot beneath snow. Morning found white gates smothered in fresh drifts, but the merchant train rolled out in ringing rhythm. 15 wagons, 6 guards, and 1 newly hired cook's aide wrapped in a borrowed coat. Leora rode beside Elias on the leading wagon, breath pluming silver. He pointed out constellations still visible in pale sky, told stories of cities where elven ballads drifted from balconies and no one stared at pointed ears. Each night, the caravan circled wagons, fires painting orange halos on frost. Leora chopped roots, stirred stews, learned the cadence of Elias's laughter. He treated each worker with an even hand, sleeping in canvas like the rest. And when she woke coughing from dreams of abandonment, his voice steadied her. You're safe. Dawn is close. Safety proved fragile. On the 6th day, raiders descended from pine ridges, bandits emboldened by war's chaos. Steel flashed beneath moonlight. Arrows hissed like angry sleet. The guards formed a ring, but numbers favored the enemy. Leora cowered behind a barrel until she saw Elias, blade drawn, blocking a blow meant for a younger wagon lad. Blood darkened his sleeve. Something inside her snapped taut. She could not lose the one soul who had fed her hunger for more than bread. Memory stirred. Her mother's whispered lessons in herbcraft, her father's stories of elfkin magic running thin but potent through human veins. She sprinted to Elias, dragging him behind a wagon tongue even as arrows thrummed overhead. Hold still, she ordered, voice stronger than she felt. Palm over wound, she recalled nights watching her mother grind frost blossom petals, chanting soft sylvan words. She repeated them now. Heat flooded her fingers, then radiated into torn flesh. Under her hand, bleeding slowed, skin knitting with faint gold shimmer. Elias's eyes widened as pain eased. When bandits realized their prey refused to fall, they faltered. A sudden horn blast from distant patrols sent them fleeing into dark timber. Silence returned, broken only by crackling flames and the wounded's groans. Leora sagged, spent, yet Elias caught her before she hit snow. You saved my life, he whispered, astonished. She laughed weakly. You saved mine first. The raid stitched the caravan into family. Word of Leora's healing spread, but unlike Whitegate's contempt, her magic inspired gratitude. Children brought her pine cones as gifts. Guards tipped helmets. Elias, arms still bandaged, watched her with new softness, something fragile, blooming. 2 weeks later, the caravan crested a ridge to reveal Calder's Reach, a port city unfurling beside Silver Sea. Ships bobbed like wooden gulls. Spices perfumed the air, carrying none of Whitegate's chill. As wagons rattled toward gates, Elias spoke. My contracts end here. Merchants sail south in 3 days, and I with them. But a voyage isn't place, only passage. I'd rather find a home and build it. He paused, turning to her fully. With you if you'll have me. Leora's breath caught. The docks roared around them. Hawkers, gulls, clanging bells. Yet the world narrowed to his earnest gray eyes. Fear resurfaced. She was still half-elf, still once a beggar. I have nothing, she murmured. No dowry, no family name. Elias smiled, thumb brushing the fading scar she'd healed. You have courage, kindness, a heart that risked itself when mine faltered. That's wealth enough for any man. He went to one knee atop cobblestones dusted with salt, drawing a band of twisted silver. Leora, will you walk beside me, wherever roads run? Tears blurred harbor lights. She recalled bakery doors slamming, stomach clenching, voices scoffing. She remembered the taste of warm bread offered without condition and realized love was merely that gift, multiplied until life overflowed. Yes, she whispered. The answer rose like sunrise, inevitable after night's long siege. 1,000 times yes. Elias purchased a weathered stone house beyond the eastern wharf, its garden choked with weeds. Together they rebuilt it, she coaxing herbs from earth with gentle spells, he crafting furniture from driftwood. Seasons rolled. Leora's healing grew sure. Townsfolk queued at dawn for her balms. No one spat at her ears. Children traced their curves in wonder. Sailors swore they brought luck. Yet memory of hunger never faded. On the anniversary of the day they met, Elias led her to a vacant warehouse. Inside stood long tables, cots, and barrels of flour. A wooden sign read Hearth Haven Refuge. For those still begging for crumbs, he explained, "Let's give them more." Leora's throat tightened as she embraced him. Together they opened doors, serving soup, weaving blankets, teaching letters under lantern glow. Sometimes she caught newcomers staring at her pointed ears with Whitegate caution. She would kneel, press a bowl of stew into their hands, and say, "Once I was hungry too. Eat, rest. Here, no one turns you away." In their widening eyes, she saw the promise Elias had offered her mirrored back. That one act of unguarded kindness could redirect a life. Years later, winter dusted the city in soft white. Hearthaven's windows gleamed, laughter inside bright as hearth fire. Elias stood behind Leora as she ladled broth, his arms circling her waist. Gray threaded his beard now. Silver braids crowned her hair. Outside, snow-hungry winds howled, but inside, warmth multiplied. She looked at the line of travelers receiving food, at embers dancing upward, at the man whose love had transformed scarcity into abundance. A crumb, she thought, remembering the heel of bread, became a feast. Her heart brimmed. She turned to Elias, rising on tiptoe to kiss the scar she had healed so long ago. In that moment, she understood how love rewrites every ledger. What was taken is restored, what was lost is found, and what began as mercy becomes the shared heartbeat of two souls forever intertwined. And in the hush between falling snowflakes, she realized she would never beg again, except, perhaps, to beg time itself for one more lifetime at his side.